What's up, my friends? Welcome to another video. I'm Rob Stewart and I'm here to help you get your skin and your overall health back on track. Now, I've been a skin health focused coach for over 10 years, but for the last 5+ years, I've been doing different iterations of the carnivore diet, almost 6 years now. And in today's video, I want to give you guys a really honest and detailed review of the carnivore diet. The good, the bad, the ugly. Before I jump into the review though, I need to give you a little backstory. So for those of you who do not know, I used to be absolutely covered with eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, and rosacea. My joints were sore, I had IBS, I was bloated all the time. And now I'm 44 years old and I've been skin disease free and super healthy for over a decade. Many of you guys don't know my full history though. I used to be vegan and I was vegan for 8+ years. At first, a vegan diet was perfectly good. I felt awesome on it, but by year 8, I was absolutely wrecked. I turned to the carnivore diet in order to heal being vegan. So that's where this review and this analysis is going to start. Year 1 of transitioning from vegan to an animal-based carnivore diet. Let's jump in. Just kidding, I lied. Before we jump in, I do need to define some terms so that we're all on the same page here, because these terms are used pretty loosely and people have different definitions. So these are my definitions of these terms. Pretty important if you're going to follow along with this video. Let's start with the lion diet. So the lion diet is ruminant animals and salt only. No other foods, no plant foods, no raw milk, no butter, ruminant animals, salt only. Lion diet. Now here's my definition of the carnivore diet. So the carnivore diet is all animal food. So we're talking turkey, fish, chicken, beef, ruminant animals, the organ meats, butter and raw milk. And some people leave the raw milk and butter out of it. That's fine. I don't. But if it's an animal or comes from an animal, it's a carnivore diet for me. That's my definition. Now moving on to an animal-based diet. Basically means you take your carnivore diet, all animal foods, and you add very small amounts of specific plant foods like fruit or maybe some vegetables that you know work really well for you into that diet as well. A lot of people that do the animal-based diet do something like a meat and fruit diet or like the Paul Saladino diet where he's eating squash and honey and some maple syrup and then of course all of the animal foods. So we have the lion diet, we have the carnivore diet, and we have the animal-based diet. They're all going to be important in this review. So I didn't start my animal-based journey on carnivore. I started when I transitioned from being vegan and trying to heal from that to a kind of an animal-based ketogenic diet. So that's where I'm going to start this review, and I'm not going to spend too much time with that diet because I wasn't on it very long. So with my ketogenic approach, I kept my fats up or over 70%. My fats came from things like egg yolks, fatty cuts of meat, fish, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, butter, ghee, and sometimes some coconut oil. Also, I did raw whipping cream at that time, which is freaking delicious. I was eating some salads, a little bit of onions, a tiny bit of cucumber, a tiny bit of asparagus, but really not very much. A few lemons, a few limes, a few sprouts here and there, but it was pretty animal-based focused. My main animal foods were pasture-raised eggs, salmon, grass-fed beef, mostly ribeyes. And of course, I was eating plenty of high-quality bacon because bacon on keto is a necessity and delicious. So here's the good. Coming from the vegan approach, the animal-based keto made me feel absolutely amazing. It brought my hormones back to life, and I have to be totally honest with you, the first time I ate salmon after being vegan for 8 years was like a religious experience. It flushed my skin. I literally felt the life force energy coming back into my body. I know it sounds stupid, woo-woo, unrealistic, but honestly, it was like being rebirthed. Other good things, my mood got way better, my libido improved greatly, my sleep improved greatly compared to the last few years on vegan. I was sleeping like crap, and overall it was like much better. Another cool thing is that with the keto approach, the animal-based keto approach, I was able to get rid of this little weird vegan fermentation pouch that was on my lower belly. And with the keto approach, that thing flattened out like crazy. There was no more pooch anymore, and that was wonderful. So here's the bad. My digestion was not good at all for the entire time I was on the animal-based ketogenic approach. My bowels were loose and they were sloppy, and I had a lot of bouts of diarrhea. I know that's too much information, I'm sorry, but that's what went on. And a lot of people will say, oh, Rob, that's just the fat adaptation thing that happens when you go from any diet to a ketogenic approach, which is partially true. There can be a transitional period, but it shouldn't really last for more than 2 to 3 weeks at the very outside. This was lasting for months and months and months. While vegan, I lost a lot of muscle mass. I went from like 185 pounds down to 140 pounds at one point. At the end of my vegan days, I was about 155, 160, which for me is super light. Looking at me in this video right now, I'm 182 pounds. Problem with the ketogenic diet is I wasn't able to really put on any weight despite eating a ton of food. So I did lose my little fat belly thing, but I also didn't gain any muscle. And if anything, I got a little bit more shredded, which wasn't good. So I was about 155 pounds, 158 pounds while doing the animal-based keto, and it didn't feel good. I didn't feel virile and strong. Although some of the positives were that my brain and my mood were vastly improved compared to the vegan diet, there was too many problems with it. And I was also just very curious about doing a strict carnivore diet. So that was the next diet that I did, and that's the next diet that I'm gonna review, is a strict carnivore diet. That was my next iteration. So one of the things that I did when I transitioned to carnivore is I stopped worrying about eating so much fatty cuts and so much fat. I just said, screw it, I'm gonna eat ground beef, I'm gonna eat some turkey, I'm gonna eat some fish, I'm gonna eat some steaks, I'm gonna eat some ribeyes, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, but I'm not gonna calculate my fat, I'm not gonna worry about it. And I didn't. Started eating way more lean cuts, ground beef, ground turkey, like I mentioned, and it was pretty delicious. I removed all of the plant foods that I was eating in pretty small amounts during the animal-based keto approach. I just got rid of all of them. So strict carnivore. I did drink small amounts of raw cream, small amounts, and a few times I did drink some raw milk, but not very often. My staple foods were pasture-raised eggs, ground beef, ribeyes, and that's mostly it. I added salt to my food. I kept it super simple. I also ate a little bit of bacon on this diet because bacon is delicious. Keep in mind, as you're watching this video, guys, that these iterations didn't happen over weeks or months. This was over an almost 6-year span. So they weren't haphazard. They were very slow. Even though I'm moving at a fast pace in this video explaining to you this, it happened very slowly. I just want to make sure you're clear about that. All of the products that I was eating were super high quality, mostly grass-fed, and sourced from local farms and butchers as much as possible. So I always try to have my food as high quality as I possibly can. Here's the good parts of the carnivore diet. I really loved eating this way. It was super simple and it tasted really good for me. It took absolutely no effort to cook the foods, and it took no effort for cleanup. Like doing dishes on a carnivore diet is just so fast and so easy. And despite what people say online about the carnivore diet being expensive, if you do it the right way and you buy in bulk and you get big portions directly from farmers, it can be super affordable. And I like that about the carnivore diet. It was very affordable for me. Here's the good thing. My digestion that was all screwed up on the keto approach was completely fixed within weeks. Like, boom, digestion fixed. And best of all, my body absolutely loved the carnivore diet. I have to be honest. I stacked muscle on my body so easily. And then during the course of a year, and a lot of people say, oh, you can't do this without steroids. But if you really think about it, as a vegan, my testosterone and my hormone levels were trashed, and my nutrition was really bad. So I was way below my natural baseline. My natural baseline for weight is about 175 pounds. That's if I don't work out and I don't try at all. So during the year that I was carnivore, that first year that I was carnivore, I went from 158 pounds to 195 pounds. I got freaking jacked and I did not gain any fat. My fermentation pouch from being vegan was completely gone. I had a nice six pack. I was buff. Then I dropped from about 193, 95 pounds down and settled in at 185 pounds. And I was able to sustain 185 pounds very, very easily. That was great. My mood was pretty good on this diet. My brain felt pretty good on this diet. My sex drive was pretty normal on this diet, but there were some issues. Here's the bad part of the carnivore diet. And I am being a little nitpicky because compared to the previous 8 years and my animal-based keto approach, the carnivore diet had me feeling pretty damn good, I have to say. But I'm being nitpicky because that's my job. Keep in mind that my job is to help people overcome an immune disease, eczema, dermatitis, and psoriasis. So the details really matter. So here's the two things that sucked kind of on the carnivore diet. My sleep was not always sustainable and consistently good. I'd have a few good nights of sleep, but then I'd also have some really shitty nights of sleep where I'd wake up, I just wouldn't go deep into sleep. I wouldn't have a lot of morning woods. I wouldn't dream a whole lot. For me, a good night of sleep, like the way I'm sleeping right now, is I have vivid dreams and I have morning woods and boners all freaking night. That wasn't really happening on the carnivore diet. Also, there were bouts where my energy was just low. Now, I don't know if this was because I was in gluconeogenesis. I didn't have a ton of fat to be using as fuel. I had basically zero carbs. So my energy source was converting proteins into basically glucose and my body running off those and ketones most of the time. My energy wasn't bad, but it wasn't like obviously banging. Again, I'm being nitpicky here. So that leads to the lion diet. And why did I change from the carnivore diet to the lion diet? Well, one, I wanted to see if those nitpicky things, the energy, the crappy sleep would improve on the lion diet. And I am someone who loves to experiment and learn and try things out. I am an investigator. And part of my job, again, is to investigate all the different diets and protocols that can help people heal themselves. The lion diet seemed like a really fun experiment. So that's what I did. I jumped into the lion diet. Again, the lion diet is salt and ruminant animals only, nothing else, no other foods. And I have to say the lion diet was interesting to say the least. And I went all in. I basically did beef and salt only with an occasional lamb here and there, but that's about it. Oh yeah, and a little bit of bison, but mostly ribeyes, mostly steaks, and some ground beef and salt. That was 99% of my diet. Generally, I was eating about 4+ pounds of meat per day, broken up into 2 meals. So when I'd get hungry somewhere between noon and 2 o'clock, I'd have my first big meal, about 2 pounds of red meat. Then after, I did work and had my day, somewhere between 5:30 and 7, I'd have my second meal, which would consist of more red meat and salt, about 2 to 2.5 pounds. That was it. That was my daily routine. So here's the good. There was some good that came from the lion diet. One, it was super simple, super minimal, super cost effective. And one of the tricks that I did to keep the carnivore diet and the lion diet super cheap is I was going directly to ranchers and buying an entire cow at a time. An entire cow is like 1,000,000 calories, literally. Buying an entire cow instead of buying ground beef by the pound or steaks by the pound is way, way, way cheaper. My body looked really good on this diet. My brain felt pretty good on this diet. And the best part of it is like I was never hungry. I just never, ever in between meals felt starving. When it was time to eat, I was hungry. I ate. I felt good. There was no bloating. There was no gurgles. There was no burgles. My digestion on point. So here's the bad. And there was a lot of bad with the lion diet for me, if I'm being honest, which I am. My sex drive went to shit. My sleep, which I was hoping to improve, got even worse. Even though my energy was consistent, my mood was kind of like blah. It was just like all of the saturation and the color in life had just kind of like dulled out and turned down. I wasn't depressed, but it was just kind of like low mood. My performance in the gym with working out was not good at all. It was noticeably bad. Also, here's the thing. With the carnivore diet, I didn't really get bored because there was a lot of variety within all of the animal foods. There was organ meats, there was fish, there was turkey, there was chicken, there was beef, there was bison, there was a lot of different things. There was butter, there was ghee, there was salt, there was good stuff. Eating beef and salt only basically got super monotonous and super boring at a certain point. And at the end, I was really craving carbs. Like, I started not being hungry ever, and then by the end of the diet, I still wasn't hungry, but all I was thinking about was like eating fruit, eating watermelon, and also I haven't had cravings in a very long time. I didn't on the keto diet really, I didn't on the carnivore diet really, but on the lion diet, I was craving weird ass things like donuts and milkshakes and candy bars, and it was messing with me. And I know this might be a little bit of an annoying thing for some of you, but for me, the lion diet, even compared to the carnivore diet, I just got too lean again. I had gotten to 185 and it was really easy on the carnivore diet. And when I jumped to the lion diet within the first month, I had dropped back down to 175 pounds and then boop, started getting to about the 170 mark, which isn't horrible for me, but I was feeling too lean and just not virile again, a little too skinny for me. And I have to be totally honest, this approach did not feel sustainable for me in any way, shape, or form, and it was not enjoyable. In my opinion, the best diet is one that's enjoyable and sustainable. I want to relate this to other people as well. For some people, the lion diet could be an awesome place to start a healing journey or as a dietary reset. Some people find the minimalistic nature of it to be really easy and really fun and very simple, which is very true for me too. It was very simple, but all in all, it wasn't sustainable and I needed to iterate. So what I did is I went back to a carnivore diet, and then with the carnivore diet, I started to transition that into a customized version of an animal-based diet, which is where I've been for a very long time and where I'm currently at today. So when I transitioned from lion to carnivore, the first thing I did is I just added all of the animal foods that I wasn't eating back in. So I varied my animal foods back up. I added butter and ghee back into the mix, and I added fruit. So it became kind of the meat and fruit diet. And that felt really, really good. The thing is though, is with carnivore diet and with the animal-based diet, for me, the thing that I've been teaching my clients and the thing that I'm really good at is being in tune with my body. That's what like the biomarker system, which I'm not going to get into on this diet, in this video too much because it's just too nuanced and it's a whole video. The biomarker system and being in tune with your body lets you know exactly how you're doing and if foods are working or not. And that's kind of one of the reasons I knew that the lion diet wasn't working well. And this is how I kind of customized the carnivore approach into the animal-based approach. Just thought I'd let you guys know about that because it's a key part of this entire review. And it's one of the places that I'm different with my diet compared to other people. I don't blindly follow diets. I let my biomarkers be my guide. They tell the truth. Getting back to the story, as I added fruit, what I did is I limited my carbs to about 100 grams of carbs per day with fruit only. And some of the fruit that I was eating was like apples, bananas, mangoes, grapes, papaya, watermelon, pretty much whatever fruit I felt like eating, I ate in small amounts throughout the day. It was pretty delicious. And being carnivore for a while and being keto for a while and then being lion diet for a while, the added fruit tasted like sweet Skittle candy. It was really lovely. My workouts got way better. My sex drive went through the freaking roof. My mood, which was kind of weird on the previous approaches, did become more juicy. I just was in a better mood. I just had a little bit more energy. The pep was kind of back in my step. And so far, out of all the diets, the animal-based keto, the carnivore diet, and the strict lion diet, this diet was by far, the most enjoyable, and it was the easiest one so far. But as I was talking about using my biomarker system, I wanted to experiment more. I wanted to see what ranges of carbs would work best for me, and I'd been animal-based for quite a while at this point. I've been carnivore for quite a while at this point, and many of you guys watching these videos might even freak out, but I wanted to see what certain vegetables that I ate while vegan that I knew kind of worked for me, what those would be like if I threw them in the mix as well. So that was my next iteration on an animal-based diet, to bring in very small amounts of vegetables and other plant foods. I added things like peas, carrots, some onions, really not that much. And I started drinking more raw milk, and I started drinking more raw cream, a little bit of raw cheese, a teeny tiny bit of honey, and my carbs kind of went up to about the 150 gram per day mark. And how did that make me feel? Added in a little bit of plant foods, eating my fruit, adding the other foods I just talked about, and upping my carbs to about 150. It made me feel even better. It made me feel really, really great. I was able to gain a little bit of weight again, 185 pounds, felt muscular, sex drive was good, sleep was good, digestion was on point. So an animal-based diet, so basically your carnivore diet plus a little bit of fruit, plus a teeny tiny bit of the other plant foods that I know work really well for me, was way better than all the other diets so far. The next thing that I did within the animal-based customized approach was I started playing with cyclical carb cycling. So some days I would eat up to 300, 350 grams of carbohydrates. Mostly those days were based around heavy workout days or heavy movement days. On other days, when I wasn't doing a lot of movement or when I just didn't feel like it, I didn't eat hardly any carbs at all. Maybe like one piece of fruit or no carbs, zero, just the animal foods. For me, the intuitive approach with my carbohydrates and cycling them on and off was very easy. It was intuitive and it felt really, really amazing to have that type of flexibility. Made the diet super sustainable and easy and enjoyable. For the first time in a very long time, I felt like my body was getting everything that it needed. Plenty of protein, good healthy carbs, and lots of good healthy fats. During this time, I was also bringing in things like a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of coconut oil, and a little bit of avocado oil. Not very much, but just here and there. So the results from my animal-based customized diet, one that's not really carnivore, but is definitely carnivore-ish, was by far the best. I'm 44 years old, and I'm definitely in the best shape of my life. Right now, at this point, like I said earlier in the video, I'm about 182 pounds. I don't count my calories. I don't count my carbs. I don't worry about how much I'm eating. I just know the foods that I eat, and I eat what I enjoy, and I intuitively eat more or less carbs depending on if I feel like them or not. Super simple, super intuitive. My sleep is great. My digestion is on point. My sex drive is wonderful. And my body shape and my fitness levels are really great where they want to be. Also, my mood is really, really stable, which is really fun and really good. And my energy is nice and high. So in the future, what will my next iteration be? I'm not going to iterate. Basically, I'm going to stay where I'm at, eating carbs when I want, eating less carbs when I want, focusing on eating lots of animal-based products, basically carnivore-ish. That's what works best for me. So in terms of my carnivore diet review, here's the honest truth. I think the carnivore diet is great and will work great for a ton of people. For me, the lion diet was not sustainable and did not work good at all. And an animal-based, super high-fat keto diet was absolutely atrocious for me. So I will never probably go back to that unless I'm doing some type of weird video experiment or trying to work through something with a client and testing stuff on myself. So to be blunt, for me personally, a customized animal-based diet, one that includes fruit and one that includes some plant foods, is far superior to even the carnivore diet. It's night and day better than the lion diet, and it's way, 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 way better than an animal-based keto approach, and by far way better than vegan. All of the diets were better than vegan, to be honest. Lion diet was better than vegan. Carnivore diet was way better than vegan. And even the high-fat keto animal-based was way better than vegan. I'll never go back to that. Now that I said that, I'll probably go back to being vegan. If I were to give some straightforward advice from my experiments and my iterations over the past almost 6 years, being on a carnivore-ish animal-based diet is this. Every person is way more different than we give credit to. Way different. And the key to long-term success with any diet is allowing yourself to make some customizations and some iterations based on your truth and your biomarker feedback. What your body is telling you, meaning how you're feeling, your sex drive, your sleep, your digestion, your bloating, your mood, your energy, your workouts, all of that will tell the tale. Those are your biomarkers. And if those biomarkers are thriving, then your diet's doing great. And if those biomarkers are not thriving, then you need to make changes to your diet. Customizing and iteration is the most important aspect of any long-term healing, sustainable diet, period. Way more important than whatever label you want to put on your diet. Being dogmatic and limiting yourself because you want to fit into a certain group really is just stupid. The goal of eating healthy is liberation, feeling freaking amazing, and also enjoying your food and doing it in a fashion that is easy and simple for you, period. So if you customize the diet, you win every single time. If you don't, you're probably going to spin your wheels like so many of my clients do before they come to working with me. Real quickly, before I end this video, I want to share with you guys a quick meta-analysis of the over 2,600 clients I've worked with over the past 10 years. A majority of them where their final healing diet is actually somewhat similar to mine. Most of them thrive on an animal-based approach, something that's similar to carnivore, plus some fruit and some other plant-based foods that are low toxicity and that they know work well for them through the testing system that we do. Take that for what it's worth. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Leave your comments and questions down below. I would actually really love to hear from you people who've done these diets yourself. Share with us in the comment what your experience has been like, because that's what's most important, your experience. I shared with you mine. I'd love to hear what your experience is for you. And for any of you guys who are suffering from eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, nervous system issues, digestion issues, and you want some help implementing a customized dietary approach, cleansing, detoxification practices, mindset, and movement into your healing life, down in the description box is links for everything. We have an online course that's awesome, and I do private coaching, and if you need help, hit me up. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Much love to you. Hope you guys have a healthy, long, wonderful life and enjoy your diet thoroughly and do what works best for you. Much love, and I'll see you soon in another video. Peace.